Okay, let's see if we are live. Looks like we're starting soon, Let's see if we can get this to work. Starting soon. Just make sure that we are checked. Yes. Okay. Let's get this audio to not reflect. See if we can get this to work. Starting soon. Just make sure that we are checked. Hello, hello. I see we got some visitors. Can you hear me okay? Check, check. Can you hear me okay? I see that we got a couple of visitors in the house. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up or put a little something in the chat to make sure that y'all can hear me okay. Hey, Mary, how are you? Great. Absolutely fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. Excited. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad that y'all can hear me okay. Having a little bit of some technical glitches today, but you know what? I am so thrilled to be back in the house with you all. So for those of you who do not know, my name is Dawn Joelle Fraser, and I am thrilled. I am amped because I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission, y'all, to get some people on some stages, specifically TED and TEDx stages. Um, and so if you would like to join me either on stage, I think the best way that you can do that is just to like say requests to join. So you can request to join me on stage, or you can type any questions that you would like into the comment box. Hey, great to see you, Daniel. Great to see you. So amped that you all are here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be breaking down like a bunch of different things for you all today. Everything from what exactly is the difference between TED, TEDx, who I am. So many of you may or may not know me, but I spoke on the stages of TED back in 2013, 2012. Ended up applying twice. And the way that I got on their stages was in a process called the TED Global Idea Search, which is now open. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the TED Global Idea Search, what that looked like for me, somebody who considers themselves to be a storyteller, but didn't know what that meant in terms of actually getting my idea on stages. So how to actually think about translating your story into an idea. And then what's it possible? Because there are so many things that are possible now going into 2025, 2026 in terms of TEDx. There are tons of events that are happening between November, December, January, which will mean people who, like you, that need to be on stages for 2026. So today, what I want to do is a little bit of a just kind of open Q&A. And then from there, we're going to be having a 3-part series, like a more structured boot camp, which are going to be informed by a lot of the questions from these open workshops. So yeah, I see that you all are there. I did not realize I would not be able to visually see you unless you put a comment in the thread, or if you request to join. So let me see if there's any questions to start us off. And if not, then I'm just going to go ahead and jump into a little bit about myself and a little bit about these opportunities. So let me see. I wanted to invite. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am copying currently a link, and I'm putting that link into both. Oh, how appropriate. Okay, I think I went to Facebook and to YouTube. Let's see here. People on LinkedIn, let me know if you got that link, if you wanted to join. Let's see here. Let me know if you see this link. You don't see the link. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Do you see my screen? Because what I think I'll do is I will copy this link for StreamYard onto my screen. As I'm doing this, in the meantime, if you want to go ahead and just type your questions, you see it on the screen, but you can't click on it. Got it. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So I think for future reference, what I'm going to do is actually switch these over to LinkedIn Lives so I can just actually have you guys join on stage. But for the time being, what I'm going to do is going to feel free to type in any questions. I'm going to have another one of these next week, exactly a week from today, same time at noon, in a way where you guys can actually jump on stage with me and ask questions. Okay. Oh yes, I can share it in the chat. That's a very good idea. Thank you for that suggestion. Let's see here. Copy. Present or invite guests. Okay, great. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm going to put this on the LinkedIn page. And as I'm doing that, thanks for your patience, by the way. Let me know if you see this. Okay, I need to stop that. Okay, great. I'm going to put it in the comment section on, there we go. Let me know if that works. I just put it in the comment section on the event itself. And that should possibly get you onto the stage. Great. Okay, cool. Thank you for that, Mary. And hi, Michelle. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just jump in with a couple of different things that are popping off in the world of TED and TEDx. So big picture is right now is a great time to think about applying. If you are a thought leader, if you are an author, if you're somebody who's been really thinking about, oh, hey, Michelle, great seeing you. I'll add you to the stage in just a sec. Been thinking about trying to get on stages and what your message could be, now is a fabulous time to start really thinking about those ideas. And so I want to be able to really maximize the possibilities of people like yourselves to get on these stages. And so what does that mean? It really means peeling back the layers to some of these ideas to make sure that they're fresh for 2025. So before I continue, I want to go ahead and bring up Michelle and anybody who has questions. So are you ready to be added to the stage, Michelle? Thumbs up, thumbs down, maybe a little bit later. Thumbs up? Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, great. How are you doing?
Hi. Oh man, you can see all the mess in my office.
So great to see you.
We're just keeping it real here. I did not blur my background.
Well, that's part of the reason why my background looks like this is exactly that. It's one of those days where I'm just back from vacation.
Oh.
Things are not quite yet looking the way that I would like them to. But deadlines are here, and I want to make sure that people got information. So
Yeah.
so what brings you here? How's it going?
I'm I'm excited to be attending because I had attended one of your sessions years ago, and had gotten lots of amazing insights. But now I'm at kind of like a different point in my career, and getting on a TEDx stage has been a goal and is a goal for the next 12 months. And I figured I'd show up to see, where do I even start? And so
Yes.
I'm kind of in that space of like, do I start with an idea? Do I start with a particular story? But the big
Mhm.
question is like, where do I even start if my goal is to be able to get on a stage sometime in the next 6 to 12 months?
Great. That's a fabulous, a great starting question. So would you say that like when we spoke previously, did you come initially with a really solid experience, something that had happened, something that you had seen or had lived through? Or were you pitching something that was something that you've researched or something that you kind of like dug really into a lot? Remind me
I
where you were
think
at.
before it was more on the, oh yeah, based on my experience as a coach and practitioner, seeing what it is that works to help people move out of stress and decision making and get to a point where they can move through it. But I think
Yes.
since we were last in conversation, I have had some like specific experiences that have driven home my perspective that like feelings and emotions cannot be excluded in the decision process, even though a lot of
Mm,
people think that a good decision is a purely rational one.
right. How would you say that you came to this new insight or this new realization?
Um, so I do a lot of coaching and teaching people how to make big decisions with less stress and more clarity, and have gotten a lot of response, especially on the personal decision side.
Hmm.
But a couple, gosh, actually, I think it's now 3 years ago, um, I had to walk my own family through a pretty overwhelming, I guess, decision process after my mother-in-law was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So it was
Jesus.
a like it was an end of life planning retreat, and I realized as I was designing that, where we started was, how do you want to feel? Because I
Hmm.
think when it comes to these big life-changing personal decisions or life steering personal decisions, at the end of the day, that's what we're optimizing for. How is
Right.
it that we want to feel? And so it's not just a cognitive thought process. There has to be a process that incorporates not just our head, but also our heart.
100%. And so that's kind of like where I remember us starting, was like that point where it's this process of dying and grieving and remembering. It's not just a process of like figuring out the paperwork and like, where they're going to be buried or like the finances, but spiritually, how do we want to be able to show up for this particular person?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, got it. And so have you spoken about this need for the combination between the head and the heart
I've
publicly before?
spoken about it generally before, as I'm like teaching. Most of my speaking has been in teaching workshops rather
Okay,
than like a
great,
specific
great.
talk.
Yeah.
Uh, but this story is one. I mean, it took a little while. It was too raw to talk about, I think, when we were
One
in
of the
it, and
first,
then like in
yes.
the immediate aftermath. But I think
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of encouragement from friends that this is it's a story that illustrates like the work that I do in a very real manner. And as a member of the ever growing sandwich generation, it's real.
It
It's a
is.
real
It
thing that
is.
people
It
are thinking about.
is. It is. Awesome. Awesome. I love the fact that you have kind of like thought about like where you are in your own healing journey to be able to talk about it. So one of the things I say for everybody, and this is who's thinking about doing a TED or TEDx talk, is knowing that this is the right stage for this particular talk, right?
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of times, some of the things that are like a lot harder for us require therapy before going on stage to talk
Right.
about it, or like a
Yeah.
different kind of stage, a healing stage, right? So I'm really glad to hear, first off, that you've done the work to figure out, can I now be the messenger for other people who are going to live through this, or most likely will live through this, to make that process easier for them, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So first off, kudos and thank you for that. Um, and I think that what you have is kind of a beautiful place where you both have the experience, unfortunately, but you have the personal story, and you have been working with people professionally
Mhm.
to to do this. Would you say that that's accurate?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. So I think that you're in a prime place to now see like what has been put out there in the world already in terms of either TED or TEDx, or you mentioned that you wrote a book or that you're writing a book.
I'm writing a book. I'm actually like finishing the second iteration of the book proposal, and got some feedback, some really great feedback from agents last year, but putting it out again in front of agents this fall. But the biggest piece of feedback was to build my platform. And as someone
Okay.
who
Yep.
prefers speaking than writing,
Yep.
a lot of people said, well, go and get on more stages.
Great.
That's what I'm
Great.
trying to do.
Excellent. Excellent. You're in a great place. And by the way, I see you as well, Mary, and anybody else who would like to join. So just hang in there, and we'll bring you to stage as soon as you're ready as well. So yeah, so building your platform is a huge one, obviously, right? Especially if you're about to like launch this book. So congratulations on getting it through to the editors, because I know that's the process. And then from actually publishing it, I mean, to submitting it to your editors, to getting it out to the world, could be like another year almost.
Mhm. Right.
So you see this as possibility as building up your visibility in that
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Great. 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 Yeah. So I think that you're directly aligned with what you need to do. So one of the things that now that you already have more or less an idea about like what you're going to talk about, I would kind of search to see like who else has talked about this already in the
Mm.
world of TED or TEDx's, um, and to see like how it's been articulated, right?
Mm. Okay.
So some people may have talked about it like, this is what you need to do if you're a sibling, or this is what you need to do if you had an estranged relationship with your parents, right? Um, and I would just encourage you to think about like what might be slightly different in 2025,
Mm.
that audiences need to know about. This might be things that you're already starting to talk about or things that you're already starting to blog about.
Mm.
Um, and from there to look at which events are going to be most likely to want to hear from you, right?
Okay.
So remind me where you're based out of,
I'm
Michelle?
based in the Bay Area. So I've never left the Bay Area. I went to undergrad at Stanford and then grad school at Berkeley. And it's my dream to like be able to be on one of those TEDx stages. But I know there's a lot of other TEDx stages
Yes, yes,
in the world. So trying to be
yes,
open.
absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, the fabulous thing is, over at Stanford, we're going to be opening applications in November.
Mm.
And this year, of the 8 speakers, I believe we had 2 of them that were outside speakers, meaning that they didn't have any affiliation with Stanford.
Mm.
So we do have people who are not necessarily affiliated with the university, who are
Does it
also.
often help to be affiliated with a university?
So for each TEDx is slightly different.
Oh, okay,
For
got it.
TEDx-Stanford, slight preference for people who have an affiliation.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Did you apply this past year?
I did not.
Okay, great. Send me. I know I have your email, but drop me a message to let you know exactly when applications will be open.
Okay.
Um, and um, and then definitely check out the TED Global Idea Search. Have I shared with you information about that before or
I
already?
remember that was one of the things you chatted about like last time we were in
Yeah,
conversation.
like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I would love for you to check out and this is due in 2 days. So
Okay.
it's kind of a tight turnaround, but I do think that it is good
Practice probably for just
practice.
like
It's good
putting
practice.
together my idea to pitch it
Exactly.
somewhere. Okay.
Exactly. And then once you do, definitely shoot me a line. Let me know like how is it coming together, because like you want to be able to put something that is succinct one of the things that they'll look
Mhm.
for is like how to articulate your idea in a sentence. So,
Mm.
so one of the sentences you can think about is, this is the way that people have traditionally thought about either death or dealing with death or dying, just like dealing with from the head, the logistics. Um,
Mhm.
but set it up as almost as if you're like a scientist, you know. And you can say like, what if I were to tell you that actually, if you were to lead with your heart, and think about like the conversations that you want to have, the memories you want to, whatever it is that you're really
Mm.
trying to focus on, um, that will hook somebody like myself, a listener, a curator, quickly, so that we can say like, yeah, that is an interesting idea. I want to hear more.
Mm. Okay.
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 So I'm going to
Well,
have
I'm
you
so glad that
think about that
yeah.
for a moment. I'm going to jump over to Mary, and then we can
Okay.
jump back up in just a moment if that works for you.
All right. Sounds good.
Great. Awesome. Awesome. Are you ready to come to the stage, Mary? Great. All right. So I'm going to bring Mary up here as well. And Michelle, do you want me to let you work for a moment?
Yes.
Okay, great. No problem. Oh, by the
And
way,
scene.
Mary me Michelle, Michelle me Mary. There you go.
Michelle,
Okay.
thank you for sharing. Hi, Don. How are you?
Great, great. How are you? Made it back
I'm
home in one
great.
piece, huh?
As likewise for you. It's I saw that you posted it. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Um, and I appreciate you putting it out there. I'm like early days considering pursuing a TED Talk.
Yeah.
Um, I'm like going through this transition period where I was in a private equity firm for a long time and then I left and I've had some time to sort of recalibrate and like recover and move away from fight or flight stress. And I'm from Alaska and from a small community. And so I feel like the topic I would want to talk about is around how do you return to your community when you've been away for so long?
Mm,
And I don't know. I mean, obviously, I can go through the prior TED Talks to find other speakers on identity and I want to say reclamation, but I'm in this position now where I'm actually going back to Anchorage tomorrow for I made the proxy slate to be on one of my native corporations boards, which is exciting. But
nice.
I candidly expressed through the interview process with the committee, like, listen, it's been a long time since I've lived in Dillingham. I'm
Hmm.
excited, but I do struggle with a little bit of imposter syndrome. I live in New York, which is
Mm,
so different from this community in rural Alaska. And there's this desire to give back and to participate and be more engaged in general. But I guess like the first question that comes to mind is what makes a TED Talk I, more like, what does it take it from being an idea that's TED worthy to something that's like interesting, right? Something that
or
they'd want to
vice versa,
showcase.
potentially, because it could be
Sure. I
interesting
mean,
into something that's like TED worthy, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then are there general like thematic themes that um, immediately dismiss pitches or
That's.
like where, yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the
No.
two
This.
questions to have in front of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. These are great questions. So I love the fact that you're already kind of like thinking about like what from your personal experience would make for like a good talk, right? And because no, it's important because this is exactly how I got on the stages myself. Was I spent some time and I was thinking about like what are those experiences that are unique to me, and I think that I probably shared with you that I have a twin with Down syndrome. Um, and so the first time that I pitched, I was like, there's got to be something in the fact that this is a very unique experience, a very unique lived experience, that it's also still very similar and still very related, right? So, for
Hmm.
example, when you were saying that you're returning to a community, that you're returning to Alaska, and that it's something that you're almost feeling like you're reclaiming. Um, would you say that people come to you or look to you in terms of like, how do I reclaim my own identity when I don't feel like I'm connected to it? Or what do people come to you for?
So, there's people who like code switchers, or I don't know how familiar you are with like sociology terms like that, of people who like
Yeah.
jumped socioeconomic barriers or boundaries, and like they go from living in like not even knowing that you're living in poverty, but it's abject poverty, to getting an education and to moving into a world and working in an environment like corporate finance. Like there are so many things I
Hmm.
didn't know when I went to college. Like I didn't know what a trust fund was. I didn't know what a summer home was, or like, what do you mean in Latin? People study Latin in high school. Like that's ridiculous. It's like, like so
Right?
many.
I totally feel you.
And I continue to sort of like oscillate between these two spheres of like, I can hang in this space, but I'm also still going back to the village where like our house doesn't have running water, and I have a niece that just got put in jail because she's selling meth. Like it's just
Whole bunch of
very
different reality.
like
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
different. But I know that experience of code switching is not just like it's not just limited to someone like myself. It's not just limited to somebody who's like a native Alaskan kid who's left but still wants to give back to the community. Because I know people who are like, I have some friends who are Black. I have some friends who are like even Asian friends who have like left to go and live elsewhere, and there's still that sense of responsibility to family. And
Hmm.
so like I'm part of the reason I was excited to join this was because I have to write like a 5 to 6 minute speech, basically to the shareholders, making the case of like why I want this, what's my background, and what is it I bring.
Yes.
However, when I was talking with the CEO, he's like, just don't be braggy about it. It's like, obviously, everything, humility is like core to all of, I don't know, everything I've grown up with. And so, again, it's like going between those two spaces. And I think there's something that there are bigger audiences, and it doesn't have to be racial, right? It could be as
Hmm.
simple as like you had a falling out with your family and you've not been in touch with people for so long, and then finally somebody dies and you're all brought back together, and it helps to solve whatever happened. um so I
It sounds
guess,
like, yeah,
yeah.
from what I'm hearing from like your different experiences, it really, actually, one last question before I jump in with some thoughts. What did you study? What did you study
I,
in college?
I studied
And is it
American
related?
studies and philosophy because I thought I wanted to go to law school, and I
Okay.
didn't.
And so do you feel like
Because
anything that you do now is connected to what you studied?
no, not anything.
No.
Like, oh,
Okay.
like, so yes, I mean, theoretically, yes. So I worked at Blackstone for many years, and then I left, and now I have my own consulting practice, small, but my focus is I want to become more embedded with tribes. So I'm going to
Hmm.
this fundraiser tomorrow night to try to like drum up potential clients.
Hmm.
And I want to work with emerging leaders. Like, obviously, I'm not going to limit myself to just Native people, but like, I want to work with Native people.
Yes. And that's great.
Like,
And
there's just not a
yes,
lot of them, as you can
yes,
imagine.
yes. So
So yes, what I
excellent.
studied does tie back to where I want to be going and what I want to be doing.
Okay, fabulous, fabulous. So I started like writing down like different words in terms of things that I'm hearing from you and like things
Yeah.
that people might go to you for. So I want to see
Hmm.
like how much of this resonates and what might be striking a chord, if any, with you.
Sure.
Um, because it seems like some of the things that you talked about are one of the first things that you mentioned is code switching, which I think that some people will know, some people will not know. Some people see it in the negative terms. Some people say like, like as a survival, like I
Right.
have to put on my corporate face when I go to my corporate job. And when I'm with my homies and my friends, I'm like, myself,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
and sometimes that's a matter for people of color of survival, right? Um,
Hmm.
and so, some of the things I could see you or like people like wanting to hear from you about is how to coach switch without like losing your own sense of self. your own self of
Yeah.
like, your own sense of culture, your own sense of dignity. Um, you know,
Mhm.
and
Easier
within
said than
that,
done.
right. But I'm sure that somebody like you would know how to tell people how to do it gracefully,
Yeah.
right?
But, I mean, I've had plenty of experience. Like, go on. I'm listening.
Yeah,
Tons of
yeah,
stories.
but kind of similar to Michelle, this kind of pulls from your personal experience, right?
Right.
Having to do it with Blackstone, having to do it in your own personal life. Um, and it could also relate to somebody who needs to hear this, who needs to like hear, who's also indigenous, who needs to hear like how to actually deal with
Walking
these
both.
people. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
so what I'm looking for like are like kind of like those themes, those topics that are embedded to who you are, that people will be like, oh yeah, Mary is a person who I can who I want to listen to, I want to talk to in terms of like understanding like how do I deal with this complexity, these nuances, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's like one idea. That's what one thing that's like that I'm starting to hear come to mind. Um, and so as it relates to like what TED is looking for, as it comes down to, it's uh, it's really about like if you were to take this idea of like code switching, or versatility or adaptability in
Mhm.
challenging situations, or coping, right? These are all like
Mhm.
different things that you can kind of like chew on. Um, the thing then would be to like pull it back an extra layer. Okay, like so what does this mean in terms of like coping or versatility or code switching in 2025 when X, Y, and Z? So when people who are citizens may not feel safe in their homes, right?
Your family are a
Um,
bunch of Trumpers, and you're not.
right, exactly. So so all of those things
Uh,
are examples, keeping in mind that of course if it's something like TED, that
wouldn't touch that.
politics and religion, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, that's
So
obvious.
yeah, so you see how it starts off with kind of like one like shared experience or shared experiences, and then it kind
Mhm.
of goes a little bit lower in terms of like, okay, now what would people like want to know from you because you've lived it, because you've
Mhm.
experienced it, right? And then
Yeah.
now that we've kind of like seen like, okay, are there things like this similar on the TED stage? Um, and if so, what is new about this topic or this idea in 2025?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, kind of like we start to like basically pull back these layers, and this you might say like actually it's a whole nother topic, it's a whole nother idea. This is not the one. But this whole process of like figuring out like what story and what idea to go with, um,
Mhm.
kind of requires like some throwing some spaghetti at the wall and seeing if the mess is gonna stick, right?
Love it. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. So those are the kind of
Thank you,
things that
Jen.
are initially kind of coming to mind. Um, do you have other thoughts or questions about the process or about your
My
own personal
journey.
experience with it? Yeah.
I mean, I candidly, I'm here to just like absorb and learn, and I mean, everybody admires TED. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it is. It's
Um,
an amazing platform, and they need more people like yourself, more women of color who are going to like get out there and kind of spread their thought leadership.
it's just this weird. Even now, I'm like, I'm not nervous about going home or being home or speaking in front of these people who I grew up with. It's more of like, I don't know. What if they don't vote for me? Like, what if it's just like it's hard to go back. That's it.
And
So
why?
I work so hard to leave it. Like,
Mm, mm,
and um there's something like this is not who I am at all, but there's something like that feels very disingenuous or conceited that like I have lived outside and I have all these things to share and like but I mean I do feel like I've had work experience that could be helpful, but I'm not coming from it like unwilling to listen to other people or to hear what's worked or what isn't working. And so it's a matter of being able to articulate that in the 6 minutes that I have. genuinely, which I don't think that'll be that hard, but you know,
And keep
and
log of like how you feel about your presentation and what you're saying,
right,
right?
right. My dad's excited. Yeah,
Hey,
it's cute.
everyone
It's
has to
cute.
have like a fan, right? But
Yeah,
thank you, Nidhi. I see your comments in the chat over here, about
we're gonna.
about your lived experience. Yeah, yeah. So much of this, it comes down to like, what is your lived experience, um, and what are the stories that have transformed you, that can be translated into something of service for the TED audience or for other stages, right?
Mhm.
Um, so um, I see you, Michelle, as well. Uh, come back to you in just a moment if you're good. Also, would love to invite anybody else. Nidhi, I'd love to hear if you'd like to come up to the stage. I know you've been working on your talk as well, and you're almost there with the idea search. So we'd like to join on stage. Let me know. As well as Caroline. Hello, Caroline and Daniel. Um, oh, there's a bunch of people now jumping in. Okay, great. So if anyone else wants to jump on stage, just let me know. But in the meantime, Mary, were there other thoughts or other things that were coming to mind for you, or other questions about this process of TEDx, like what it entails, what it doesn't?
What is the difference between TED and TEDx? Or are you going to get to that towards the end?
Today's an open session, so any questions are free questions. So the difference between TED and TEDx is like TED is the main organizing umbrella organization, which so anybody who's done like a TED talk means that they have been invited from somebody who works at TED or from the TED official staff. And so essentially what they did is that they realized that there are billions and millions of people around the world who have great ideas, and they can't get to all of them, right? And so what they wanted to do was to be able to create like locally sourced, locally organized TED events, which
Got
means that everybody who does a TEDx means that this is an independently organized 1 year license from TED. Um, and these are all volunteers. So everybody who's putting together a TEDx event is a volunteer,
it. Hmm.
with the intention that they stick to TED's guidelines. And so some TEDx events are going to be great because they've been curated. They know what they're doing. Others, not so much. So my goal is always to make sure that people have a list of like the TEDx events that are like highly reputable. A lot of some of the talks that you see on TED.com actually have been recorded at TEDx events. Um, so a lot of times, if you can get onto a great TEDx stage and do a kick-ass talk, great chances of being promoted to TED.com.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And you mentioned that they're like 2 days before a deadline. What is that deadline?
Oh, so yes. So the deadline that I was mentioning is for the TED Global Idea search. And I think I put it in the chat, but essentially the Global Idea search is the one way that I know of that people can kind of pitch themselves directly to TED. So traditionally, what you had to do is that you apply to like a TEDx event, so TEDx-Stanford,
Mhm.
TEDx Chicago, TEDx Albany, wherever, right? You do a great job, that gets promoted to either TED.com, or people from TED in general look through those pitches. They invite you to go onto their main stage, which is in Vancouver. The TED Global Idea Search is a way for you to kind of streamline that. So you go and you do a TEDx talk, in Chicago. They have an application for Jordan. I think they have one for India, for the UK. So people from around the world can apply. And you do a TEDx talk, and then one person from each one of those events goes on to TED.com.
Wow.
So the TED Global Idea Search was super competitive, but this is the way that I got onto the stages of TED. Um, and yeah, so that's what's due in 2 days.
Okay. Not this year. How often do they do a call for those?
About once a year, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah, once a year. But like I said, there's a lot of TEDx's that are coming up. So if that's on your bucket list, let me know, and we'll, like, you know, I have a list of 1,000 events, so you just let me
God.
know.
And then I also noticed that there's a 12, you're going to be sharing details about your 12-week Speaker Accelerator in
Oh,
September.
yes, yes, absolutely. So starting on September 8th, I'm going to be doing a 12-week program. And that's going to be for
Cool.
people who will, yes, it kind of gives us a lot more time to like dig into your ideas, to dig into, you know, is this really going to like work in terms of a 2025 pitch, right? So this is what I've been doing for the past, I want to say 12 years, working with different individuals on their stories, on their pitches. So from September 8th until November 24th, we're going to be doing that in community. So it might be somebody like Michelle, it might be somebody like Daniel, Caroline, kind of come together, and over this course of those 12 weeks, we basically look at all aspects of your application. So what is the pitch? Are you able to articulate it in one sentence? Are you the right person to be talking about this particular subject? But yeah, we go through all those nuts and bolts over the course of 12 weeks.
Cool. Thank you,
Yeah.
John. I'll let somebody else
Yep.
jump in.
Okay, great. If
Appreciate
you'd
your
like any
time.
additional information, just send me a ping, and you know, I'll be doing these free workshops for the next 3 Wednesdays. So this Wednesday, next week, and then the week after that. And after that, we'll do like a boot camp, and then from the boot camp, that'll be leading us into the 12-week program.
Amazing.
Yeah. So if you have any other thoughts or
Love
ideas, just feel free to let me know, and share with your audience.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. See you soon. I'll go ahead and put you back down into the there you go. Okay, cool. You got a shout out from Michelle that she's rooting for you, Mary. Okay, great. So let's see, Nidhi, I see that you're here. Daniel, would you like for me to post your comment and to chat about it? And Caroline, you're getting oh, Caroline says she can't wait to see you on stage, Mary. Okay, so Daniel, I'm gonna go ahead and post your question if that's okay. So Daniel says that he was a finalist for TEDxStanford last year. Wondering if I could share what goes into the final stage of deciding between the finalists and the event speakers. If I recall anything about your application around financial wellness, yes, I do. Happy to serve as an example for better for worse. More general guidance is okay too. Okay, great. Daniel, yes, absolutely. I do remember your application. If you'd like to come on stage, feel free. But so what goes into the difference between the finalists and the actual event speakers? So what I'll say is that for every single event, it really comes down to who is part of the application pool. So for TEDxStanford this past year, we had about 200 applicants. Daniel, I remember that you were a finalist, which meant that from the 200, we selected about 20 people to interview, and 20 to 30. About 20 to 30 people to interview. And of those 30 people, we selected 8. So so one of the things to kind of keep in mind, and this is like for everybody as you're like looking to apply, is every single TED and TEDx is going to have some type of theme. Some stick like hardcore to the theme, some don't stick as glue as you know as strictly to the theme as you would imagine. In the case of TEDxStanford, we did have a theme of like building bridges, right? And so all of the different people that we were looking for this particular event had something along the lines of building bridges. So that was like one criteria. The second criteria was like we were looking for people from like all different like walks of life. So you may have seen on our final stage included somebody who was a neuroscience, somebody who was talking about beauty and art, somebody who was talking about transportation and infrastructure, you know, somebody who was talking about like diversity and health issues. So essentially, what we do is once we have a theme, and then once we have a range of speakers, we kind of like look at all the different verticals. So do we have somebody from arts and entertainment, humanities, medicine, yada, yada, yada. And so from there, it really kind of comes down to who do we feel best is going to represent this idea, this concept of building bridges, these different verticals, and fits kind of what we're trying to accomplish, right? So in your particular case, Daniel, I remember that we were very excited about the fact that we didn't have a lot of people talking about financial wellness, financial literacy. But at the same time, I think that we wanted something a little bit more, gosh, I don't want to get like too much into the nuances like of your specific application, but how it related to people like everyday listeners to a TED or TEDx talk. I think that you had done a lot of work within the university community, and I would have to double check our notes, but I think that part of the question was like, how can this be expanded beyond college students, for example? I could be wrong about this, so double check with me about that. But essentially, that's how something goes from being pitched, and obviously, like we were all very much like, oh, this is interesting. This is something that people do need to talk about, that people do need to understand. And so I think it was just a matter of translating your pitch to a larger, broader audience. So that's what I would say was the situation for your particular pitch. I'll be more than happy to like look it back over again for this year. And anybody who's out there listening, interested, applications will be due in November for TEDxStanford. So that is hopefully that kind of gives you a sense of like what the process is. I should also say that every single TEDx organizer is going to ask for something different, right? So we ask for a 1-minute video. Some people might not, which is why it's really important for us to always make sure that what you are pitching, be it either in the written material or be it in the video material and the content, it needs to be like it needs to get the listener's attention like right away. So that's one of the things that we look for is like, is this capturing our attention like right away? So it can move on to the next phase. For some people that will be an interview, for some people that will be actually just getting directly booked onto the stages. So great question. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Mary and Monique. Okay, great. Michelle, did you want to come back up on the stage? If you'd like, yeah. Okay, great. All right, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and I just wanted to like give a shout out to Mary. I'm rooting for you. Thank you for sharing your story, and I just think that you are such an asset to your community. So rooting for you all the way. And also, It was just helpful to hear you kind of like pull out the threads out of someone else's, because sometimes when I'm just thinking of mine, I get two in my head. So it's so useful, and I can see how like doing this in community would be super helpful. I was thinking about what you said about like how would I explain what I'm trying to talk about in a sentence? And I think I reverted back to the way that I talk about it when I'm teaching versus the stories side. And so as I'm reading it, I'm like, this feels watered down. And so I'd love to hear your feedback. And so what I have is traditionally, when faced with big decisions, we think a good decision is one that is rational. But what if I were to tell you that bringing your heart into the process, or more directly, I think the words you used was leading with your heart. What if I told you that leading with your heart is actually the key to making big life decisions that make sense and feel right?
I like where you're going with this.
Like, I think it captures what I talk about, but it doesn't say anything about like me or like my unique take on things, or like, why am I the person? Yeah. So I don't know if that needs to be in that sentence or not.
Yeah, no, I think that you're absolutely onto like a great start. So if I were to ask you, like, what is the risk of us continuing to make decisions rationally? What are we risking?
Computers could do that. Like, we live in the age of AI, and I mean, it's so this is a completely different rant. unrelated to the story that
Go
I
ahead.
was
Go
telling
ahead.
before. But, I was reading articles about how younger people are asking AI what they should do. And they're like, I have a big decision. I need to like, choose between this job or that, or, this major or that, or like this school or that. And they're just asking AI, what should I do? And that's completely outsourcing their decision making to a robot. But like no offense to the AIs and the robots listening in the room.
They're everywhere, all by the way.
But I mean, unless people know how to speak from their heart, because like the feelings that come up in a decision is where our values lie.
Right.
The robots can't help us. And so like I think in a time where robots can do, or like AI computers can do so much more of the rational, logical, computational stuff, we need to double down on what's human. And we need, like, every single person needs to understand how to bring their heart into decisions, because that's the piece that AI can't do for us.
Now, do you talk about this in like either your book or other venues?
I mean, I haven't been talking about the AI piece, but like generally I talk about how we as humans have to understand how to fold emotions into the process of decision making, because emotions and our feelings and our values are ultimately what make us human.
Okay, got it. So I
AI thing is new just because it's been like, I was talking to some other like Stanford continuing studies instructors about AI, and they're just like fan boys and girls of it. And I'm just like, but we humans still need to like retain the part that is important.
That part.
And the part that only we can do.
That part.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. Like the AI is it's timely, right? So these kind of things are the things that we want to be. And you also light up when we're talking about like that an AI robot can't do this, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. People should not be outsourcing. I mean, there are other things you can use AI for once you understand like how to break decisions down into its pieces. But like the heart part, the values part, the like what you're optimizing for, sorry, that was like a very engineering word, still has to come from us, and it has to come from here.
You could still use the optimize our rationale. I mean, if you're trying to like look at combining both this new age way, this new technology way of thinking, and what you're trying to get people to think more honestly, more from a heartfelt space, then I think that you're definitely on the right path. I think that you're on the right path. So your initial statement was,
it was just like, traditionally, when faced with big decisions, we think a good decision is one that's completely rational. What if I were to tell you that leading with your heart is the key to making big life decisions that make sense and feel right? And then we went on the AI tangent where like, if I were to keep going on the AI tangent, like I fully believe that decision making is going to be the most critical skill for, like, I have kids and I'm just like, okay, computers, before in education we talk about doing, like you got to learn how to do things, but now we're in an age where computers are going to be able to do so much, and really the critical skill is being able to decide. How do you decide and discern what's important, what's good enough, like what you are trying to optimize for? And I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
Being on your soapbox, Michelle, is a perfect indication of like what you can talk about forever and ever. Amen. So essentially, when I'm looking for like what you should talk about or what people should talk about, there's kind of like this overlap of three things, right? There's this one overlap of the things that like light you up, the things that like if you had a megaphone, you can just like go on and on and on and on, right? So we're starting to hit some of those with some of these topics that you're talking about, with the discernment, the decision making, with children, right? That sounds like something that you got right there. Now we're looking at this other part, this other overlap in terms of like the things that people know you for, right? So people come to you for what? There's coaching that they come to you for. And I can imagine that if you talk to them about decision making or discernment, then we're starting to get two parts of that puzzle, right? And then the third part of that puzzle is like, okay, what makes this timely like now? Like, do people need to hear about this now? So it already sounds like you're starting to fill in that
Oh my gosh,
like
hi Devin in the chat.
hi Devin, how crazy. Yes, we need to
Her
figure
worlds
out,
are colliding right now.
Come
But okay, things
on.
that light me up, things that
Yes,
people know me for, and then what makes this timely like now in 2025.
right.
Okay.
And so those are all kind of the criteria that go into like specifically for you. Like,
Mhm.
once we figure out like what you'll be talking about, then it's a matter of like matching it with like the right TEDx events, or like the right geographic areas, be here in the Bay Area, or be that around a conference that's more focused on psychology or decision making or personal development,
Mhm.
whatever that might be. So going back into our puzzle, do you feel like that it lights you up, obviously? Is this something that people come to you for, that you do talk about, or that you would talk
I mean,
about?
like, I'm known as someone who teaches about decision making. And so,
Fabulous.
like, that
Great.
is like, yeah, I was an adjunct lecturer at Stanford teaching about decision making last fall.
Yes,
Although I'm
perfect.
trying to do that more closer to home.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll be guest lecturing at
welcome.
Berkeley because I live in Oakland. So,
Oh, so
yeah.
wait a minute. So I won't see you around campus this quarter?
Not this quarter. It's a bit of a hike. It's a far drive. But I
I
might
know.
sometimes I guest lecture in the Designing Your Life course. So we'll see.
Oh, great. When you do, will you drop me a message when you're on
Yeah.
campus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just Don F.
Okay.
at Stanford. Yeah, released is fine. So between those two, we have like it lights you up. Obviously, like you have the credentials and the background, and it's something that that people are talking about now, especially with people outsourcing decisions, children learning to outsource decisions. So you have all the criteria that make you the right fit for something like that topic, right?
Mhm.
So now the next part would be like, how do we make it less academic-ish and more for the world-ish, right? If
Right.
that's the topic that you decide that you want to go with.
Yeah.
But one of the first things that I would do is go through like the list of things that that fit all three of those criteria.
Okay.
And then from there we can decide, okay, which one of these do we want to pitch?
Okay.
And kind of going down to like the pitch list is a matter of like, okay, which ones of these are really truly new ideas? Which one of these are really truly going to like light up a curator like myself when we see it, to say like, oh yeah, that's a no-brainer. And to kind of give people like a little bit of a behind the scenes look of like what happens is typically on a committee, I'm like one of 4 or 5 different people who will review applications. And so similar to like a good like YouTube video or a good something that's going to get your attention, there's usually just like a hook. There's something that gets your attention. And if you're able to hook people from different departments, so I come like from like more of like a communications background. If you're able to hook somebody from like a computer science background, hook somebody who's like coming from like a medical background, with this one idea of this one concept, then you'll know that the application is most likely going to be pushed forward, because it's interesting to like, if this is boring as hell to somebody who already understands about decision making, then that's going to be your first barometer, is this interesting to somebody who is in my own field,
Okay.
or does it sound like I'm regurgitating a book that I just read? Yeah. So if you're able to kind of like test it with people who are in your industry, and then you kind of get like a green light from them, then that's like a good sign, like, okay, this might be a really good topic for people who know nothing about me, know nothing about this topic, but this is really cutting edge and it could help to move the needle forward in terms of like their lives with their children or their decision making.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from the folks within the Society of Decision Professionals, because they're just like, oh, you know how to talk about it with people out there.
Yes. Exactly. That's what I help people do, is like translate the genius of like, your world into an application, to a pitch, to like, so that people who have no idea what's going on, like how it translates.
All right. Cool.
Yes,
I,
yes.
I want to share the state. Are there other people in the room who want to come up on here? I
Anyone else?
appreciate all your
Hey,
help.
Chevelle. Thank you for the claps, Chevelle. Much appreciated. Um, Devin or Daniel, I see your comments as well. Um, so if there's any other comments, feel free to put them on the in the chat. Thank you for the insights. Or thank you, Caroline. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me know if this format works for people, because I'll be doing 2 more of these, one next week and one the week after as well. So, if people like this format where you can come on stage, I can also just do regular
But
Clubhouse
this was
style
super
chats.
useful. Like I wasn't expecting this, and this is so valuable. So thank you. Thank you
Of
for this.
course, of course, absolutely, absolutely. I Do you want me to put you back into the waiting room?
Yeah, that's fine. People don't need
Okay,
to look at the
okay,
mess in my office.
okay. No problem. I'll remove you from the stage. So great seeing you. Okay, awesome, awesome. So, thank you all for coming through. As I mentioned, there's like so many different ways to think about like how this can apply to you. Um, I'm just like personally back from vacation in Portugal, and I feel like I'm ready to just serve you all, to be able to make sure that you all know that your voices, your stories matter, that they need to be out into the world. And I would love to continue to support those of you who are interested in trying to do a talk, be that for TED, be it for TEDx, or if it's for your particular industry, right? I know that there's a lot of people out there who want to get paid speaking gigs. Um, and that was a whole nother process that I went through when I was trying to figure out how do I just take my expertise in storytelling and leadership development, and package that for students. So I know that there's a lot of you who are interested in just getting paid for your expertise. Some of you are like looking to like level up because like like Michelle or like Mary, you either have a book coming out or something that is going to like really catapult you into this next level. And a TED or TEDx talk can help you do that tremendously and quickly. So so if that is something that you're interested in, I would love to continue to serve you all. As I mentioned, I'm going to be doing these. So like just like some free jump in, jump online with me for the next 3 Wednesdays during the course of August. And then I'll be having a boot camp. So the boot camp will be over the weekend of, oh, let's see here. I will let you all know very soon, actually. But then the 12-week program, for those of you who want to like go deeper into actually like working together, looking at like what are the events that actually make sense for me, for you to apply to, that's going to be starting in September. Okay, so if anybody has any interest in joining or more information, just send me a DM, drop me a DM. I'll be happy to serve you, and we'll go from there. Okay. So keep an eye out for the next couple of sessions. Keep an eye out for these lovely opportunities. If by chance you are a Harvard alumni, so specifically from a Harvard alumni, drop me a message that says Harvard storytelling. Okay, Harvard storytelling. We got a free session for you that is coming up, specifically for Harvard Black Alumni Association. So super excited about that. It's a brand new initiative that we're excited to bring to you. So just put in the comments, Harvard storytelling. Um, Thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Mary, for jumping on stage with me. Damona, you're here. Do you want to jump online, or did you want to take some personal time? Thank you, Mary. I'll put in the link to join as we're starting to wrap up. Let me see if I can just find it. 1 second. Let's see. The funny thing about this is I can kind of see some of y'all, but not all y'all. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if you guys are still there. But let's see if I can find the link again. Ah, here it is. Oh, you're not camera ready. Girl, look at my hair. Look at my hair. These braids need an update. Okay, but that's okay. That's fine. We'll touch base over the phone. Um, and oh, thank you. So you're just learning about this. So um, and wonderful to see you, Michelle. So I will mention to you that I'm going to be doing another one of these next week. The reason why I wanted to um, the reason why I wanted to do this today is because a lot of people know that the way that I got onto the stages of TED, the stages of Big TED, was through something called the TED Global Idea Search. And the Global Idea Search is once a year, like literally, y'all, like once a freaking year, TED opens up this application process where um, where you can actually pitch directly to them. Okay, and there is a way for you to nominate yourself, but this nomination pool is tens of thousands of people deep, like tens of thousands of people deep. And so the chances of you getting found through this nomination pool, in my opinion, are very slim. Whereas if you apply for the TED Global Idea Search, you're submitting a video that's going to be looked at by somebody from the TED team. You're looking at an application that is going to be submitted and looked at by somebody from the TED team. So all that to say that I'm just gonna put the link once again into the comment box. Post vacation glow. That's right, Caroline. That is right. Okay, but here is, and let me know if that went through on LinkedIn. But essentially, oh, actually, no, here we go. And if you put in the search TED Global Idea Search, now here's the thing. I know that 2 days is not enough time. It's not enough time to put together a solid application. But some of you I've been speaking to for a couple of weeks now. I think that you're in a really good place. And we'll touch base in just a moment, all offline. Thank you, Damone. I don't feel like I'm cute all the time, but you know, it's all good. Diana, you also need to apply for this. Oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. Um, so so go and check out the Global Idea Search. Okay, the reason why this is happening today is because this Global Idea Search is due on Friday at midnight. It's the equivalent of applying to TEDx Chicago. Okay, so you will need to submit a video, you will need to submit an application, and it might feel rushed. And if it is, I'm hoping that you'll be able to join me or like let me know about this so that we can plan for the hundreds of TEDx events that are popping off in the fall. Okay, Diana, yes, I know you're ready. Do you want to join on stage? Let me know if you want to join on stage, if you have any questions that you think might be helpful for the audience. Okay, multiple applications. Okay, great. So Caroline is asking about multiple applications. So what I would say is that for the most part, the organizers of TEDx do not know if you're applying to a billion of them. Most of them don't, right? What I would say is that you don't want to spend like your time and your energy just like throwing spaghetti at any wall, right? So what I would encourage you to do if you're like looking for um oh, Caroline's applying for Friday. Okay, sweet. So if you are applying to the TED Global Idea Search, um, I would encourage you to submit one application. If you already submitted something and you feel like, eek, I want to do something better, go ahead and submit another one. Not recommended, but you know, I would go with like the one idea, the one application, the one thing that you think is really going to stand out. Okay. I know as a curator for TEDxStanford, when we receive more than one submission, we just kind of delete one of them. And I don't want that to be the situation for you from the TED side. if you submit one that you feel is better than the other, one is deleted or they just ignore it because it looks like a duplicate. So I would come up with your best idea and the one that you feel like it's like this is the message that needs to be heard now, and to focus on that one. Okay. Is my submission advice the same for the idea of for TEDx and for the global idea search? No, the advice is not the same, and here's why. So for TEDx's, the TEDx's that I'm going to be recommending that you apply for tend to be a little bit more regionally specific. So Damona, remind me where you're from. But say, for example, you are from the Bay Area here in California, right? And you are applying to Stanford or to Berkeley or Orange County, Los Angeles, San Diego, like any of the talks, the TEDx's that are here. There might be an angle that is a little bit more specific to Silicon Valley. So, like for example, if you were talking about like love in the time of 2025, something that you pitch to Silicon Valley might have a little bit more of an angle around technology. It might have something that's a little bit more specifically geographically located, like in terms of like who are the people who live here in the Bay relative to which might be totally different than people who live in New York or in the different part of the country. So typically for the ones that are the TEDx's, we try to see if there's something a little bit more geographically salient to the application. That is not always the case, but that is sometimes the case. You're from Michigan, but you live in Los Angeles. Okay, fabulous. So in your case, I know that you're applying to the TED Global Idea Search. And this one's really interesting because technically this is through TEDx Chicago. Chicago does look for people who are local to Chicago, but they are also looking and are also open to people who are from anywhere. So for the global searches, one of the things that I often recommend is think about your topic in a little bit less of a geographically focused context and a little bit more to statewide or nationwide context. I know that in your case, it's probably like perfect because you do a lot of national and international work in general. So generally speaking, I would say like if you're trying to apply for the TEDx, see if there's something that is a little bit more specific to that region or to that population or to those people, because those curators are coming from that area and they want to see themselves as curators, as people putting this together, this event. They want to see themselves somewhat represented either through the theme or through the speakers. Whereas for the TED Global Idea Search, not as much, right? So yes and no. I know that might be a little bit of a complicated answer, but let me know if that answers your question, and if not, I'll circle back to it. Okay. Oh, great. So Damona, you also mentioned that you went to Chicago, so you can relate to the Chicago audience. Fabulous, great. Not so sure if that matters for the idea search. Yes. So for your application, please mention that you have connections to the Chicago area, because they will be favoring people from the Chicago area. I think. Can I even show my screen? Let me just show you my screen for a quick second here. Okay, so great. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if this worked properly. Okay. 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 Yep. 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 I think that is the right page. Oh no, here we go, application. Here we go. Okay, great. Okay, so if you can see my screen okay, this is for the TEDx Global Idea Search. I put the link in the chat, but you'll notice here, we'll be in touch in the middle of August, short video, learn about you. Finals will be given a TED Talk in Chicago, September 26, 2025, hosted by TED and TEDx Chicago. Okay, actually, I was looking for the page that had a little bit more about the information about who they're looking for. And this is, let's see, it's actually this other page. Okay. Anyways, all that to say that that yes, somewhere on the application page it does mention that they will be favoring people from Chicago. So definitely indicate that as part of your background. Okay. Okay, great. Diana, are you still there? Okay, cool. Let's see. Any other questions? Any other questions? I'll go ahead and put this one last time into the chat in case anybody would like to join on stage or had any other questions. Oh yes, so I was going to mention that I will be having another one of these next week on Wednesday. Next week on Wednesday. So share with your networks. Hopefully by then I'll have the hair all done up. You know, just wanted to make sure that that you guys got this information. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Excellent. Great. Great. I think that we're good to go then. So thank you so much for those of you who were able to make it out. If you have any questions, any thoughts, you know, our boot camp is going to be a little bit more structured. So if you have an idea and you want to be able to flesh it out in a little bit more detail, just like send me a note about when and where that will be. It'll be coming up in the month of August, and we'll be doing 2 more of these about Ask Me Anythings. So thank you so much for joining today. It was great to have you all. Oh yeah. Oh, Caroline, you don't see the link? Oh, hold on a second. Let me see if I can copy the link for you. Oops, let's try this again. Okay, copy, invite guests, copy. There we go. Okay, so yes, thank you, Nidhi. Thanks for your patience today. I am gonna put the link again on the comments. Okay, great. So for any of you who are still online, looks like there's still quite a bit of you online. I just put the link to jump on stage in the chat. So I will. Oh, you just wanted to say hi? Well, you can say hi on stage, Caroline, if you'd like. It's no problem. Nidhi, I do look forward to speaking with you too. Maybe I can meet with you and Damona at the same time, perhaps. So yeah, Damona, for the video. I'm going to share with you the video that that I sent in. It is literally me I had like my fro, which was like kind of like just way out here. I'm speaking so fast in my pitch video, so fast that because I was really trying to get it to 1 minute, and I did like about 40 takes of it. On take number 47, it was like 1 minute and 7 seconds. I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I don't care. And it was accepted. So I think that for the most part, just be you, be charismatic, be the kind of person that they're going to say like, oh, we want more, right? We want more. Yeah, because if you come across as dead, they're, you know, it's not going to work. But yeah, nothing too fancy. It doesn't have to be edited. It doesn't have to be, oh, please do not edit, like don't edit it, right? So like do it in one take. Make sure that you're calling out specifically the TED Global Idea Search. They'll know that you are pitching this directly to them, that you're not repurposing this for like a bunch of different things, even though if you do that's fine. But make sure that you say like, you know, hello, my name is yada, yada, yada. And by the way, you don't have to start off that way. You know, you can start off with like, what if I were to tell you that the best way to connection is being completely dismissed because of societal expectations around blah, 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 right? You can go directly into the idea and then introduce yourself. Like I said, whatever's really gonna like capture people's attention like quickly, do that. Just, you know, get their attention. Hey, Caroline, I'll be with you in just a second. So yeah, do whatever's gonna like get their attention like quickly, and then like, you know, introduce yourself, but don't worry about like trying to set this up. Don't edit it. Don't like, you know, cut together like little pieces. When I receive those kind of things, I get really annoyed because I don't have a good sense of like, can this person articulate themselves without having to be chopped up by the video editor, right? And yeah, and trying to do it in as within the guidelines, you know, 50 seconds, 60 seconds, excuse me. But if you go over, then, you know, it's not going to be crazy. If you go way over, then, you know, it might be just chopped. So yeah, that's those are some thoughts about the video. Caroline, you ready to come on up? Yeah. All right. Great. Hello.
Okay. Hi, it's been a while.
It's been a long time, friend.
I know, you look great. Oh, do you hear the life happening in the background?
all the life is happening.
We have Tara's 2 dogs and our puppy.
Oh my gosh. Is this like summer dog sitting duties?
Yeah.
You look great. How are things?
Good.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Do you remember me? You probably don't. You were like a little.
No, it's been a while, Dawn.
You were a little nugget. Yeah.
That's okay. I'm happy.
Yeah. Probably just remember the voice.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Remember Clubhouse? Yeah.
I'm one of the Clubhouse babes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice voice. Yeah, maybe. A little, yeah.
Yes. Before you had baby number 3.
Yes. Oh, here comes baby number 3. She heard. And so I've been working from home. And so literally she is sitting like on my lap, just like typing in all my meetings, just like this.
Oh my gosh. Caroline. Hi.
Is that crazy?
Hi. Number 3.
I know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's so fun. I saw your thing and I was like, I'm gonna hang out in here and listen to Dawn's voice.
Yay. Hi, sweetie. What's your name?
This is Bayani. It means hero in Tagalog.
Hi, hero.
Yeah, right.
You're my hero. You are. You don't know it yet, but you are. Oh, look at the face. So Caroline, are you like on this mission are you still getting on stages? Like where are you in this whole trajectory of like public figuring, being all the things?
Yeah, so actually, hi.
Hi.
Our county, so I'm still in New Jersey. I'm in Somerset County, and our county has this really great leadership program And so I've been working on that, and I've been connecting with a lot of, community leaders and decision makers on the local government level.
Okay.
And so having opportunities to speak to their teams about what I find is like really, what's important to us in our family, and just making sure that we're part of this democratic process.
Mm.
So
have you met Mary? I need to introduce you to Mary. Y'all are birds of a feather.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what I've been into this past year or so with everything that's been happening, socially and politically. And
yeah. And so are you working for the state?
No, so I am, sorry, I'm just going to go off camera really quick while I transition. And so I actually work for a creative agency. We're based out of Charlotte, and we work a lot with government agencies for marketing campaigns, especially in public health. So I do work with the government in that sense. But again, like it just like really aligns with what I'm like, what I'm super passionate about, and what I really want to lean into is just making sure that like anything that I touch or do like really supports the community, and like the types of values that are like really important for like not only like for myself, but like for our kids, right? Like I want our kids to grow up in a place where they can like feel safe and seen, and like they get to exist just as they are. So yeah, and I think that's like, I don't know, that's like something that not every kid gets to have, and those aren't resources that every community can invest in right now.
Right. I love how you're still, doing so much for like not only for family, but for your community, right? Yeah. And there are a couple of things that are coming to mind for you, but I'm not really sure like if is this really the time, the space that you're looking to get on stages, or are you like, where are you at with all of this?
Yeah, so that's so funny because this is crazy that this is like all lining up this way, especially the TED Ideas search is literally in 2 days. And
2 days, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, F it, let's just do it. And
good. Yes.
Sometimes you just have to rip off the Band-Aid. Like, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Like, I used to be the type of person that would like save dessert for last, and then I would fill up on vegetables. Like, what am I doing with my life?
So you're applying, or you already did apply?
No, I'm gonna apply that to like on Friday.
Good. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
So I was actually talking to Tara about it because she's done a TEDx talk, and something that I've just been like, what I'm recognizing, especially with like my previous history of like burning out and then still finding myself in these like, I don't want to say like toxic, but like not healthy cycles, right? And then again, with everything that's happening, it's like, is it me, or is it the systems that are built around us that are keeping us like trapped where we are? And not to be like super on a soapbox about this, but I'm like really recognizing that there are, like, this sounds like so naive too. Like, oh my God, did you know there's systemic barriers out there? But really, people are running around blaming other people and blaming themselves for literally like the system that is holding us back. And like, how can we, like, starting within like our own homes or like in our communities, like, how do we take back that like ownership and that power and that authority is like really what I've been contemplating this.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, since this election. Honestly.
Interesting. Okay. So do you want to unpack some of these thoughts?
Yeah, so the one thing that keeps coming up for me, again, especially because like I'm learning more about like what's happening at a local level government wise is and this is like my big idea. And this is what I'm gonna flesh out in the next 48 hours
Okay,
is
great.
what if we called invisible labor what it really is and started calling it essential infrastructure.
Okay, wait. Break
That's
down the definitions that you're starting to share here.
yeah. So,
Invisible labor.
invisible labor is often carried by, women like mothers, partners, wives, like teachers, usually like in more female dominated professions, and like caretakers, even nurses, right? Like this caretaking role. And there's so much like emotional labor that goes unseen and like unnoticed and unacknowledged, really.
Okay.
And so calling it invisible labor kind of like puts it off to the side. It's like, yeah, it's happening, but it's invisible. And like, that's just how it is. Like kind of like wiping your hands clean of like any accountability that is just like, it's just there, like in the back of everyone's mind that happens.
Yeah.
But like in reality, like what women actually are, like they're like the architects and designers of society as a whole. Like if women didn't carry these quote unquote invisible labors or like these invisible burdens, like society would fall apart. And there's actually like there's instances of that, right? Like Iceland, if everyone knows this, but I think like in the 70s they did this like women's strike day, and like no women did any work, and what they were fighting for was like equal pay, and they got it. And I think it literally lasted like less than 48 hours. So like imagine what a world would look like if like women didn't do all that other stuff that supposed to do, right? Or that's expected of them. So that was kind of like what I've been thinking a lot about, especially like as I find myself in these volunteer positions, right? These unpaid, these unpaid positions at the PTO. Like I'm volunteering my time to like, do these events that like are great for the kids, that are great for the families, that are great for our community, and like fundraising, right? Like why do the parents and the mothers have to fundraise for things that are me? Like what are we doing? Like what is that?
So then is the idea then for like what would this mean? How does this translate into what you would want women or anybody who listens to your talk? What would you want them to do, say, or believe as a result of listening to your talk?
Yeah, so and I thought about this because like it's like about having frameworks that like stick. So what I would want to do is like rename it. So like language shifts power, calling it essential infrastructure gives it like the legitimacy that it actually carries, like what it's actually worth, and then revaluing it. So like measure it. Like there's so many studies about like how much more work women do. Like we do almost like 4 hours more work than our male counterparts. And it ends up being like up to 11 weeks at the end of the year of unpaid and unrecognized labor. So like measure it, fund it, like share it, like help people realize that the economy doesn't just run on people who are getting compensated. Like there's people who are not,
Yeah. So do you think that if people recognized it as an economic engine, what would be possible, or what would shift, or what would be different?
Everything that we're fighting for that other developed nations have. So really, this is an America thing, which really like resonates with me so deeply. So like paid parental leave, like acknowledging that just because you are not physically pregnant or you don't physically give birth does not mean that you aren't a parent who needs this bonding time with your child, right? Or there's like, families who are looking to do IVF that isn't covered by insurance, or what else do we need? Like universal health care, like, You know,
Yes.
so things like that. So it goes from like, you know, renaming it, revaluing it, and then reinforcing it. So like building the policy and culture that like protects it. And like, so like what we do with like physical infrastructure. So like people say like, we need billions of dollars for this bridge or like these roads because they're what connect our community. These are what they need. And then what about this emotional labor, these emotional structures that aren't getting compensated?
Right. Okay, great. So a couple of things that you just said are really like standing out that could really work for this. Do you by chance know of the comedian Baratunde Thurston?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Look
He
at
has a
Baratunde's
TED
stuff.
Talk, right?
He does, yes. And
Yes.
it's the reason why I bring it up is because it's all about how he's looking at language and
Mhm.
how he looks at like headlines from different events. You know,
Yes.
black man killed by white motorist speeding down the runway, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But he looks at the way that word choice, right? What if we were to take out black man, white man, um, speeding, and some other parts, and we actually like kind of like reframe this headline, right? Um, and some of the things that you're saying, hey, there you are again.
She's sleeping.
I don't know how you can. You're amazing. Just come back and baby's asleep, burped, and just like just relaxing in mama's arms. Um, so yeah, so one of the things that you said in terms of like in terms of redefining it, reimagining it, and reinforcing it, right?
Yeah.
Like looking at ways to I mean, by capturing the language it seems like is the first thing that you're advocating needs to be looked at in order for this to be more thought about in a way that is equitable to like other countries, equitable to the ways that other nations and societies do this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes it great for the global idea search, right? Because this isn't just about something that will be happening in Chicago, but this is something that would be great for a larger TED stage. So I think one of the things that you're going to have to really work on is like making this like super streamlined
Yes.
and simple enough to be pitched quickly and to make sense. But what you did say in terms of these 3 R's is a good starting point, I think, in terms of like how you can articulate that quickly. But what would you want people to like to redefine invisible labor, or to reimagine it, or to like what exactly would be like the
Like in a perfect world, we would stop referring to it as invisible labor and it would just be essential infrastructure. Like literally. Like if we're talking about like women's work or just like emotional care, like recognizing it that it is so valuable to our community in like a really like a substantial way, that it doesn't like, because when you call it invisible labor, it just feels like so flighty. Like, oh, like it's like give or take. Like if we have
okay.
it, if we don't, we don't. Like, oh, that's so great. Like mom like plans the play dates. Like it goes beyond that. You know what I mean? It's not just the play dates.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's fundraising. It's like holding together like groups of people, communities. It's kinship. Like just
Yeah.
maintaining like these connections that aren't necessarily like valued in the same way that aren't valued the same way in a capitalist society. Let's go.
Yes. Yeah. Great. Great. So what I would love for you to do is to like to, because I know that you have a ton of personal experience as it relates to this, right? You've done all the fundraising, you've done all the parent teacher stuff, you've done all of the like, even for like our stuff on Clubhouse, right? So I would love for you to be able to pull out at least some type of personal anecdote or some type of personal story in terms of like how you got to this. What made it like click for you, being like, no, this is no longer, if in order to change our society, we need to change the way that we're addressing it, or change the way that we're even thinking about this terminology. And this is what we have to gain. We can be more we can actually understand the implications of this on society, the implications on this on work, right? Because like the concepts that you're looking at are like they're very global.
Yeah.
And so in order to kind of like bring them down to a granular level, I think they can like look at specifically like what was it that triggered in you that caused this this issue to be a topic, right? And then how does that translate down into what I can do as a listener to move this needle forward? And all it is like simply like, it's a simple act, like reframe the way that we're thinking about this concept, or reframe the way that we treat this concept.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the simplest way to like kind of like make it really palatable in a quick fashion for like something like a TED audience,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me. So, but I would love to like, put it together your application. You got 48 hours. So so do it quick. And let me know, like hit me up with some thoughts, some suggestions. I'd love to like, check it out and see what's working.
Yeah, thanks. I love
Of course.
this.
Of course. Is there anything else that you're like playing with, or anything else that you have questions about?
So my original question that I put in the chat, like thoughts on multiple applications. So for this, it was more actually for this big idea, because 48 hours is 48 hours. There is one that I like actually fits in a later one. The one in UK in London.
Yes.
That fits better. That also fits in our schedule, because I was like looking, I was like, where can I go? That's like, so is it frowned upon if you do one for that, like one for here, and then like a second one with the same idea though? Because I'm wondering, like, is that like not a good look to do that?
I see what your question is. Okay, cool.
Yes,
yeah. So kind of similar to the one with Chicago, the one in UK is going to favor people from the UK.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't think that the curators from the UK are going to have any clue as to the people who apply to Chicago.
Yeah.
It's not really one of those things where I would worry too much about that. I guess it would more so just be a matter of applying to the ones that you feel like are going to be a good shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely apply to the one in the UK. So I can share my screen again.
Okay. Yeah.
And apply with the same idea, but also if there's other TEDx's, and we'll look for stuff that's like close to you, because you're near Houston, aren't you?
So I did see, because I was talking to Tara about this. There was one in Ohio that I was thinking about, because that was a TEDx Women.
Yes.
And that actually is what got me started on thinking of like essential infrastructure, because that one, funny enough, was about building bridges, and it's specifically
okay. Yes.
So I was like, oh, because then I started thinking about like, building bridges and infrastructure, and I was like, wait a second, like,
yes.
Yeah. So that was my moment, but that was for that specifically. And then I remembered when I saw, again, like you were doing this, and then you said like the big idea. I was like, maybe I could just do the big idea too while we're here.
Do them both. But then also, do you know about Third Ward? TEDx Third Ward?
MM is doing that.
Yes.
Yes. I have a different idea for that, because it's supposed to be for like you do and you dream and something else.
Okay. Well, go ahead and start to like log some of the ideas.
Yeah.
Because I know that this one is due like most immediately. But then if there are other ones that also kind of like fit this similar theme, then let's also like repurpose whatever you're doing now for those other ones that make.
Okay. Because I came up with a different one, because it was really, and I think it goes hand in hand. It's like a different side of the coin. because for the one for the third ward, because it was like dream big or like do big or something like that. And a lot of times, and actually I think it was like Michelle, was she the one who was referring to it? But basically how like you like want to do these big things, but then for whatever reason, like you don't feel like you can.
Yes.
And I was thinking about that, and I was like, a lot of times, like most times than not, and they've actually done studies on this, is like when it comes to test taking, like when you follow your intuition, you will be rewarded. And then I feel like intuition is like this thing that like you're born with and that is like super innate. And then like as you go through life, like you have these life experiences, and then like you grow up a little bit and like you learn more about the world, and like now your intuition is like replaced with like education and
Yep.
like real life experiences and fear, like really like the fear that comes with it and like all this knowledge.
Yeah.
But more times than not, and like even for my own personal journey, like if I had stuck to my intuition, like I would be doing what I'm doing now, but much sooner. Like I would have been doing what I was doing now, like when I was
ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing now is what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
But because like I grew up in a first generation immigrant home, my mom's a nurse, my sister's a nurse, like I grew up with other nurses, I'm Filipino. So like my destiny was already decided, like I'm
a
a
nurse.
That's what Filipinos do.
Yeah.
And I have always leaned into like emerging technology. I went to NGIT. I was surrounded by like super geeks and nerds, and they were talking about like the internet and coding and like building robots. And I have always loved that, but I just always like wrote myself off as like, well, I don't love the engineering part. I don't love like the writing code. So like what career could I possibly have in that? And that's like, and like Facebook was coming out. Like I was one of the first users on Facebook. Like Instagram was coming out. I was one of the first users on that. And
you got everybody on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Everybody oriented on Clubhouse. Yeah.
I've always loved it. But like I was like told time and time again that like that's not where you need to be. Like you need to be doing this. Like this is practical. Like this is safe. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's fine. And I was really happy doing that for a long time, you know, for like over a decade until I wasn't.
Right. So is part of your second thought about like listening to your intuition and like listening to like your gut in a way?
Yeah. So actually exploring like the neuroscience behind it and like honoring this like long standing tradition that's like cultural, that like other cultures and like other societies have like, you know, that we don't have here in the Western world. So that's what I was thinking for the third ward, because I was like, oh, because that just kind of like made sense to me, because like how can you do big things and how can you dream big things if like you're not listening to where your intuition is trying to tell you to go, you know?
Right. No, I think that is also like very like it's totally timely. I think that like people like myself did not listen to your intuition. It can like lead you down the wrong path, you know. I guess my main question for that is like, do you feel like you have enough that's out there in terms of you, Caroline, talking about this topic, or do people come to you for stuff on transitions? Like, you know, do you feel like you could like hit the nail on the head when it comes to like transitions and living by intuition?
Yeah, so funny story about that, and this is what I've been working on. Like I like the baby's turning 2, and this is kind of like I'm coming out. Like I've been going to networking events. I've been getting published.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've been like really putting myself out there. And Dawn, if you need help with that, this is kind of stuff I can
great
stuff for you too, because that's literally like I've gotten published in like 4 articles, like online.
Great.
Yeah.
On what is the topics?
So career transitions, because that's what I did.
Great.
Being a working mom, essentially.
Okay.
And then talking to one article I'm going to post on it is actually like the neuroscience of going on a first date.
Okay.
So
Nice.
like I'm obsessed with like human relationships.
Yes.
So, and like being a good communicator, which Dawn,
I know that's, yes, that's why we fell in love with each other.
yes, yeah. So I love exploring like what happens like in your brain that makes all these things work, and like why are they effective, and then kind of like applying that to kind of all these other things. So like as far as like the intuition, so yeah, I've been exploring like the neuroscience behind that and like somatic therapy.
Yeah.
And how like people are kind of like using this, like these kinds of like practices or like I don't want to say interventions, but like it's breathing exercises or like a body scan. And
100%.
then what?
100%.
Yes, yeah.
I'm smiling because I did a retreat right before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been bugging out at like how incredible it was.
It's so powerful. And there's cultures around the world that have built this in, right? Like this is just what they do with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what's happening here in America. And we're just like nose to the grind. Like we need to start listening to ourselves and to our body and like, what does it look like? So I have this practice that I do, and I've shared with other people, and it's basically like how to unblock these like, how to unblock your intuition, but it's like a full body scan.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be like super personal. I'll send it to you, Dawn.
Please do send it to me. So that I love like how like in tune with like mind, body, spirit, physical, you are. So I think that you have the potential for a lot of great topics. And I also don't want you to like have you like burn yourself out or like, by going in too many different directions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I could also imagine that like somebody who like for example, I'm listening to this book. Is it Big Magic? What is this book called? It's freaking incredible about manifestations and magic. But he's like a professor from like Stanford, right?
Yes.
And so I could imagine that there's going to be people like him that people will be like, okay, well, if I want to like learn about manifestations and magic, I'm going to go to this dude, right?
Guy.
The Stanford dude, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that you're pulling your attention and your application and your pitch into being like, oh, well, no, like I'm going to Caroline. Like I'm not going to Stanford, dude, because Caroline knows more about this from like either like a working mother angle or from you know what I'm saying? So that's the part. That's what I want you to focus on. You're
so good, Dawn.
I just know you're hella smart, and I also want to make sure that it's like going to be like an obvious like this is mind magic. That's what I'm reading right now.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it's anyways, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like a lot of this stuff isn't like, I am not claiming this research as my own, right? Like I'm not a neuroscience scientist. Like what I was really looking for, and that's like part of it, is like I was just looking for tools to like help myself, like to help my family. Like I'm 40 years old, like perimenopause is a full scene.
Full thing. It's the reason why I'm sweating right now. Okay. Yes, like, it's not these headphones. It's like this. It is this time of life. Yes.
Yeah. Like, why don't we talk about this kind of stuff more? So like, I just find myself like in these deep spiral dives of like, okay, well, I need to figure out how can I make this work for me better. And so it's like, okay, well, neuroscience says this. Like I have 15 articles that I've read through that support this. So this is what it all is in like
Yes.
5-step body scan, like packaged on a
Isn't it
one-page
great?
PDF.
I love it. I love it. I've been listening to Mel Robbins. I think that Mary can probably like and appreciate this comment as well. But I've been listening to her podcast about like, how to do the body scans and like how
Yeah.
to do like the breath work on my own, right? Um, but even she's getting that advice from the
From some,
neuroscience people,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right. So like I want to know like if you were invited onto the podcast to talk about this, you know, like what would you talk about? What would be like your angle? Because
yeah,
this is part of who you are.
yeah,
This is part of who you are. And what's going to make you the person to get to talk about it is the iteration or the angle that you know the most about, right? So for you, it might not be the 5-second rule. For you, it might be like, how do I actually like leverage how do I leverage like manifestations or breath work um, as a busy mother in order to like help me get to that next level of like tranquility with my family,
yeah.
right? Sorry, my dog is like, hey, I want to be on screen too. But does that all make sense? So I think you're there, but I think that we just need to like pull back the layers even more to make sure that you are the right person for the talk.
Yeah, that is a good point, Dawn. I love that. Thank you.
Of course, of course.
I need to hop on this stage. Dawn knows. Dawn has all the answers.
And that's the hard thing about it, right? Is because like for a lot of these talks, you have 10 minutes, 12 minutes, you know, if you're in the case of like the idea search, possibly 6 minutes.
Oh, was that a 6-minute? The big idea?
The one that I did was 6.
Oh, okay.
It was
Are you
6 minutes.
gotta share your video, Dawn?
I
I'm
also
looking.
it's totally online. It's funny because when I did it like 10 years ago or whatever it was, um, they were I think that they were still trying to figure out exactly their process.
Uh-huh.
So like 3 of us went to directly to Vancouver, and then they held off on publishing mine for about, I don't know, like 9 months.
Oh,
And so they sent it to me. They're like, okay, we're going to publish this, but we're not going to publish it yet. And then when they did publish it, they're like, okay, this is previously unpublished, but then it was published. It was a very weird process. Um, but nevertheless, it is online. If
okay.
you search Don Fraser, redefining what it means to win, it'll pop up either in the TED or the TED archive or on my own website. It'll pop up somewhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But of all of the things that we've talked about, what's kind of like staying with you, or like what are you gnawing on, or where are you gonna go from here?
I really like the essential infrastructure because I'm living it. Like I'm living it right now. And so many of like my good friends are as well. And I just think I keep going back to this, but like where everything is kind of going. And as you know, like Roe versus Wade getting turned over, and these conversations around like what women can do when we're all like, when we're already doing so much, like why do you need to take, like we're
Even
just
more.
doing more, but then
Yeah.
so many things are being taken away. So that's kind of, oh, bye
Bye,
Mary. I saw
Mary.
you too.
Yes, I'll. Oh, thanks. She just jumped off, but I'll connect you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think we need to have more voices, like not only championing like what women are doing and like the value that we bring to the table, but like quantifying it, like really changing the language around it. Cause it's like, like soft skills, nothing. Like we're running the world. Like
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
soft.
Yeah. That's not. It's
Yeah.
not. I mean, like the things that you're doing to nurture are like helping to create like an entire community of people that
Yeah.
are well adapted, who, love one another, can support one another. That's nature of humankind, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah, yeah. Great. Well, put some of these ideas together, gnaw on it. Um, and today's Wednesday, so you have until Friday. Yeah, you have until Friday. And just like hit me up. I'm doing the same with Nidhi and like, some other people.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Timona. Yeah, yeah. So they're like waiting for me, I think. So I'm gonna go like jump over and make sure that they're all good, and
Okay.
just see where they're at with their stuff. But once you do, just send me a message, and let's and
Yeah.
then I'll be continue to do these. Of course, after next week will be for other events, but let's get this in.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course, of course.
And
I'm
Michelle
glad.
too. That's exciting. I don't know if she's still there, but I see
She
that.
might be. I can't tell. Like, I can't tell when you're on the stage. Do you see like who else is in behind the
No,
scene?
because I'm not. Because that's when you were like, oh, it's in the chat. Oh, yeah, still here eating lunch.
Okay.
Because when you were dropping it, you were dropping in this chat, but it wasn't populating in LinkedIn.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but when I copied and pasted it directly into LinkedIn, that's when it was working. Okay.
No, because you had posted it, because it's pinned right here, right? The
Yeah.
StreamYard. I just typed that into
Oh, you did.
I was like, I'm gonna talk to Don and just say hello. So thank you
Oh man.
for the time, because I literally was just gonna be like, hey Don.
Oh boy. Okay. Next time I will. I'll see if there's a way to pin it or
Connect it
pin.
all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like it gets posted here, like on StreamYard, and then on Facebook, I see, but it doesn't get posted onto
Onto
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man. Okay. Is anybody else that I can't tell if there's anybody else who is online, but this is your last opportunity. You can type the letters like Caroline did if you'd like to jump on stage, or if not, you can jump to bookmarking it for next week. Next week, Wednesday at noon, I believe is going to be our next session. Let me just double check that before I lie to people. Yes. Next week at noon, Wednesday at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Come with your questions, and I'll have more information for you all about the 12-week program and the boot camp that's coming up. All right. And if you want support on the TED Global Idea Search, hit me up today or tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. I'll definitely be posting information about the boot camp. Like I said, I've just been inspired since coming back to get my butt back in order and to make sure that people know about these incredible opportunities. So so I will let you know about it very soon. All right, I'm going to put you back into the
Bye. Thank you, Don.
studio. Bye, Caroline. So good to see you.
Same.
Okay, let's see here. Oops. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, y'all. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out, Michelle. Thanks for hanging out, Mary. Damona, Nitty, Caroline, for Diana, everybody who's been able to come through. Didier, thank you for coming through. Save the date for next week, Wednesday, same time, same place. And sending you all lots of love. Thank you. Take care.